You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo 2021 edition.
Happy New Year!
Yes.
And happy Monday.
Is it gonna be a better year?
I mean, we got off to a rough start, for sure.
Oh,
We got
yeah.
off to a rough start.
That's the understatement of the year, and it's just happened.
That's true. That's true. Although it does feel like this year has already been way longer than it has. I think that's just our MO now, to drag out every January, February, March to where it feels like you've lived 10 years in that little bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure the world is aware.
yeah.
Insurrection. Almost. A coup.
A coup.
Whatever
an
you want to
attempt,
call it. Sedition.
Sedition.
I mean, we've got
traitors.
we got words.
You know.
It didn't happen.
Nope.
And good,
Good. Yeah.
but also I'm concerned.
Yeah. It
You
is
know?
very concerning, and it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what we're seeing here are people who have been sitting on their laurels and waiting for orders. And I have a feeling they don't know why. They're just following someone blindly for some idea that he may or may not be able to deliver. I say may not. I don't think he can deliver anything because all he wants is love me, praise me, me am God.
The center of attention. Yeah.
And as
Feeds
long as
off
he's
of that energy, that adoration.
and as long as he's getting it, he'll do whatever it takes to continue to get it. And it doesn't matter what lies, what little fibs he has to throw out there to get them to follow him that blindly. But if they honestly believe that he would be able to give them what they wanted, and that's even the more confusing thing. You say you want America, great. You want to take America back. Back to what? We're
We
not.
know.
We're
We
not.
know what back to what.
I know.
And I get it. And I actually kind of feel bad for them in a way. 'Cause think about it, like to fall in line with something like that, to have that much feeling that you've been forgotten, not cared about, pissed on, whatever it is, to the point that I don't even feel like it's a movement, if you will. It's just kind of like an outrage at being forgotten, and it's more just hating that other side so much that, you know what, if I'm going to get forgotten and my needs aren't going to get attended to, let's burn the whole thing down then instead. If I can't, you can't either, is what it feels like.
But what I would ask anybody out there, and I really doubt we have any Trump supporters, and you know what, and that's another thing too. Democrats, Republicans, Trump supporters.
Yes.
There's
It
a
is its
whole
own camp.
different camp out there now, okay? There was a very thin line that they were teetering, but after this,
Yeah,
Democrat,
it's not
Republican,
conservatism at
no,
this point.
Trump's.
It's not. Yeah.
okay, I have a lot of respect for certain Republicans, whether they be senators, governors, whatever, who have done the right thing politically in a lot of ways that I respect and admire, and this is an entire, like, there was a line in the sand and you've crossed it at that point. You're on his team, Trump's team.
I think
that's
his
a whole
team just
nother
hates
thing.
both.
Yeah. Oh,
honestly.
Yeah. Well, you see with
and Democrats, he doesn't like either of them. You can tell in the rhetoric. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that he goes and targets his own VP, that's a whole nother level of just you've got to be kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know where I was going with this. It's just
it's a mess. It's a mess. It's heartbreaking.
All I'm asking for this year, for the following year, the next 4 years, matter of fact, and I guess even the first two, because we know the tide can change, but maybe it'll still be for the better. I don't know.
Right.
We'll see. All these people who have been on Trump's side, and maybe even if you were a Republican and you just voted Trump because you're just like, well, I'm not voting for the Democrat, whatever it may be. Just give this a chance. Don't knock it until you tried it. You know what I'm saying? Because when Trump got into office, I didn't want it.
No,
but,
I didn't either.
But trying to be, decent about it, I was like, all right, I don't know. He could do great. I don't know. I've got to wait and see.
Right.
And then 4 years later, he's trying to burn it to the ground. So I'm like, all right.
Like way worse than I even expected myself.
Oh, yeah. So give this a chance. Just breathe it out. See what the first year is like. I'm not going to sit here and say that he won't make mistakes. Mm-hmm. The one thing that will not happen is the 25th Amendment is not going to be invoked on him because people think that Kamala Harris is trying to take over the White House because she never going to get elected any other way. That's not going to happen, okay? Yeah. And if it does, then, well,
I mean, but think of it. Do you want to do this every 4 years? Or even two people. Like, I mean, do we really want it to be every single time? It's just this horrible scramble for a power grab. I mean, I know we've said it a lot lately where it's like we've had one of the oldest democracies that's lasted. It doesn't mean that we're supposed to just throw it away now because we were able to manage to make it last so much longer than others have been able to before. Mm-hmm. Like, I've heard a lot of people like, well, it was longer than most. Like, So that means we're supposed to just let it go now? Because, like, I don't know. There's a lot of work we have to do to try to coexist and come together and actually speak to each other in a civil manner. It's not even just, it's to the point where it's just civilly towards each other. I can still remember where you were allowed to have opposing views and you talked it out. You were still friends at the end of the day. It's like, it's just not the case anymore. No. We've all been bought into our own side too hard. Mm-hmm. Too hard. And we vilified the other to the point where we just can't even imagine they'd have any good thoughts, opinions, things to bring to the table. And I'm not saying I have the answers. But, I mean, we've got to coexist with each other. We have to. We're just going to keep tearing ourselves down.
It's not going to be good splitting the country in half.
And I mean, we basically are. We're looking at it now. I don't think it's a movement anymore. It's what it is now. Because when you look at that many who voted, that's no longer just like a small base or a movement. Like, that's they're here. We have to try to coexist somehow together and figure out what made it continue to stay this way. Like, where we thought we've made strides and then we've slapped some paint on it and made it look nice and shiny. And then under the surface, it was still the same old beast. But
I think what would help is if we had politicians not working in absolutes, not slinging mud at the other side. If we have politicians who say, I disagree with my opponent, but,
what can we do to make this for both? Right.
Yeah. Like I see the validity in their argument and vice versa. That's what we need, because if the American people see the people in power playing nice with one another and getting along and saying, hey, I know this is what you think, this is what I think, what can we do to come to an agreement, middle ground? Then all you're saying is, if we can do it, you can do it, and then we can all get back to some form of normalcy. We
do need some better examples. 100%. Like, Yeah, we've allowed it to go on for far too long.
Yeah. It
mean-
didn't just start back in 2016, people.
No. This has been here a long time.
Yeah,
Very long
it's
time.
been dragging about. But hey, I know you didn't come here to talk about politics, and I honestly have a lot to unpack here, but I am going to limit some of it because today we're gonna play things a little loosey goosey. I don't really have anything.
Yeah, we had a lot of news. I picked a few things out that was, good to go. But I mean, it's hard when you come back from a break to pick the things like, well, what was the biggest things? Then you tend to lean on the news stuff, and you guys know it's been a weird life. Lately.
Oh yeah,
it's all
So-
strange.
I'm trying because I wrote down a lot of things I wanted to talk about here. So I tell you what, we'll save it for the end
Okay.
because there's no telling how long we could go on, and at least
That's-
that way I'll be cognizant of what we're talking about. So hey, what have you been playing while we've been
What
off?
have I been playing? I actually wrote it down this time so I'd remember because we've all learned my memory is garbage. But I did finish Cyberpunk.
Oh,
did,
how
and
did you manage that?
Well, I played on PC. So
Okay.
that was, I guess, the one advantage that we're having here. So I did finish it. I was able to, I guess, get 3 endings because once you start the end thing, it just seems like choices that you make after that could decide what ending you get. And some of the stuff that you have to do ahead of time for those to even unlock, like as a choice to pick. So there's like a secret ending that I couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting. Like, yeah, I finally did look it up. I was like, really? I thought I did, I got it. And then once I saw what I had to do, I have to go back a little bit further than I felt like. Since I just beat it. So we'll eventually maybe get around to doing that one, or I'll just watch it. I don't know. I played the Jessica FMV. Wow, that's dark.
Okay.
Yeah. Touches on some pretty deep subjects. So I knew it wasn't going to be like happy go lucky because I played the demo, but it went way darker than even I anticipated. But so that one, there might be some trigger warnings for some people if you want to dive into that one. Just saying, it does deal with some heavy subjects. And the Dark Pictures anthology, Little Hope.
Okay. Did you ever play the first one, Man of Medan?
I did.
Okay.
So I was reading because I tend to play the games and then I'll kind of go see what people thought about it afterwards. Not that
Right.
most people's opinions have ever really swayed because like I'm kind of comfortable in what I know I like these days, and but it's curious to see how I line up. And it seemed like I have kind of the different opinion than most. Because
Okay.
a lot of people seem to like Man of Medan better, and I honestly think I liked the story in Little Hope better. I
Okay.
liked the story better. I kind of liked the characters better. I feel like they changed the way the mechanics worked a little bit, where now it was 100% point and click.
Yeah.
Unless I am not remembering properly, and you guys can let me know, because I played it when it was new, but I felt like it was more keyboard and mouse for the QTE, and now everything was just 100% mouse, which wasn't a problem for me. It was just interesting that they, made that adjustment. Yeah, I thought the story was more fun. I thought it was a little bit more tense. I thought it had a little bit more kind of funny little moments between them. And maybe because it was one of the first times I actually, first try, got everyone out alive.
Nice.
Unexpectedly. One choice pissed me off so bad. I don't, because it might be a spoiler, but oh my God, I thought I was doing everything so right. Everything so right. And then when you realize what's happening and then it clicks with what moment would have changed it, you go, oh, because it was so far ago, But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I was just like, damn it. I almost made it through with everybody up until this one point on a second playthrough. You know what I mean? So that's when it clicked. But I liked it better.
Okay.
It was more of a ghost story. These people were on a bus going down to this dark town. They had to get veered through Little Hope because, something was going on the road. And it crashes and they're like stuck in this dimension. I don't know what you would call it, because there's like this fog that would come around and they would walk towards it and they'd get kind of stuck in this area. Like you'd go this way to the street, but then end up coming back up the way you came. So it was like you were stuck in this huge loop in this town and couldn't get out. And I don't know. Maybe I just liked the atmosphere better. Having this lore that was more in the background than in Man of Medan. I don't know. I liked it better. I had a good time. Yeah, I think they made the mechanics a lot easier, but whatever. I liked the story better. But yeah. So I was actually kind of proud of myself. I actually fully beat those 3 games, start to finish, when we were off.
Excellent.
And lots of Slay the Spire, because I don't know. I just like to sit down and waste time.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any better at it. I don't know why I keep
trying.
putting so many hours in it. I think it's just because it's just so easy to have something to kind of do when you're looking to just kill time. It doesn't take a long time to load. It doesn't have all this stuff I got to really, look at or read or whatever. And whatever. What have you been playing over the break?
Oh, boy. Well, I feel like I've been playing a lot, but I guess when you break it down, maybe it is a lot. I don't know. Well, when we first left off, I think I was playing Jedi Fallen Order. I had just started that, and I was complaining about bugs, which never got better. But I did finish it. Mm-hmm. It's not like they were
game breaking.
I know it crashed a time or two, which is always frustrating. But I was able to at least get through it. There was actually one bug that was so bad. Like, I didn't even realize what was going on. Like, I didn't realize. Like, something seemed off, but at the same time, I'm sitting there looking at it, it's like, is this supposed to be there? I don't know. But it was a flashback sequence, and this shouldn't be spoilery. I don't know if anybody had. It's been out for a year.
Right.
Anyway.
It's like 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Go.
There's a flashback sequence where the main character is remembering his time as a Padawan, and he has to go find his master. And when I came into this room, there was this big giant rock standing out in the middle of the room. And I was like, huh. I don't know what. Huh. And I thought maybe it was like, holograms, illusions or something. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah, that fits.
And then they was just like, hey, get through here. And I was like, where are you at? Because I couldn't see him. And I was like, okay. And then I just started moving through.
I want to come to where you are.
And then I realized when I couldn't find where the next platform was to jump to, I was like, the rock. I'll jump at the rock. And then I went through the rock, and I was like, okay. Well, this doesn't belong here. And then I just got so turned around because I was like, I don't know where to go.
Did I go through the rock? Am I on the other side?
So I had to reset the entire thing and then come back in. And then the rock was gone. I was like, oh, shit, now I can see the room. So just little things like that. But it was good. I felt like they almost played it safe in a way with the story because I'm so glad that I had watched Clone Wars and Rebels and all this stuff prior to this because those certain details out of that, I was like, like I knew what they were referencing. Mainly Dathomir and the Night Sisters. I was like, that's the thing. But
oh, fun.
As I went through the story and they got to the end, I say they played it safe because when you got to it, it was like, well, that's over. Not granted, it wasn't like that simple, but it was just almost like, well, this isn't going to happen, and we're right back where we started. So where are we going to go? Next adventure. Da-da-da. And it was like, so you didn't really change anything. You didn't have any impact on anything going forward. You had an adventure, and there we go. Even though this is supposed to be canon.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything.
I was going to ask that if it was meant to be or not.
Yeah. I didn't see anything that they did that would have affected anything anywhere else. So it was a very safe story in that regard with a lot of, little touches here and there where it's like, oh my God, that's cool. But I was, like, after I got done playing that, I started on Just Cause 4 because I didn't know what else to play at the moment. And then I got a PlayStation 5.
One of the lucky ones.
Yeah, by sheer chance, let me tell you. So I got that, and then that just opened up another little door of possibilities because I've been waiting to play Miles Morales.
Yes, you have.
And then so I did that twice.
Oh, okay. So you got it, played it, beat it. You love
Twice.
Oh, you loved it then. Yes, nice.
So that was just the story in that was amazing. Like, it's so hard. They're so good at writing these stories. I don't know what. They're just talented because, like I've said about what I've said about the original Spider-Man, which I also did play and beat again. Because I wanted to
try it on the PS5.
Yeah, I wanted to see what it looked like and get that reflective. Like, I didn't even realize how much it wasn't there, so I had to look it up on YouTube to see like the differences. And when I saw it, I was like, "Holy crap!" And I'm sure I could have turned off the flicker, and I was just like, "I don't want to do that."
Oh,
just like I'm enjoying it for what it is right now because it's really neat to actually see him through the windows when you didn't really see it before, and you're like, "Oh, look, there he is! He can swim." I don't know why it's so cool, but it is.
Hey, it's in there. It's fun. You're enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. But what's so beautiful about Miles Morales' story is it is I'm so glad that they decided to take Peter and remove him. Mm-hmm. Like the story pretty much picks up where he's training him, and then Peter's like, "Well, I gotta go. We're going overseas, me and Mary Jane. So if you got this, you're gonna be the only Spider-Man. So have at it." And it puts that responsibility on him. And it's about him learning how to do this, trying to do it right, and then having a lot of pressure put down on him because there's so much going on. Mm-hmm. And he's really trying to learn what this is. Plus, they throw in other little references, comic references, moments, like you get to see his uncle, Aaron Davis, who, if you remember Into the Spider-Verse, he was a character in that. So they introduced him, and I was like, "Oh, cool! That's fun. That's awesome." Yeah. And even the villain, not the main villain, which, well, I guess they would technically be the main villain in a manner of speaking. Anyway, they tried being slick about it. Like, I won't say anything story-wise, but they tried being slick about it, by making a few adjustments. And I saw the character's name, and my brain went through my comic catalog, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I know that name." And then I was like, "Okay, I know who it is." I was like, "You're that person."
So you're that person.
Yeah.
Hard to say when you don't want to spoil.
Yeah. But yeah, it didn't take all it took was just a few moments to sit there and be like, "Okay, I got it." But yeah, it was cool. And even the representation that they added to it, which I thought was so beautiful. Like, even just little things that they did made it so much better. Like, God, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil.
Right.
All right. Great example of how they did that at one point. There was a side mission that I don't remember what it was, but you had to go kind of one of those collect here, do this, do that things. And then one of the things you get is a new suit. And it's kind of like the red and black one that you see in the actual main cover art. But instead of the red, it's gold.
Oh.
Okay. So when you get it, they actually do the cutscene, and right behind him is a big piece of wall art for Black Lives Matter. And then so when you actually get to see yourself in the suit, he's just kind of standing there like that, and then off to his right, you see the Black Lives Matter, and I was like, that's good.
Great. That's, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But there was even stuff at the end that just got you right in the heart and the story, because you're just like, God, yeah, I love these people. And the whole sense of community.
Get my hands on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same way you are. I would rather kind of wait for the next gen. I gave my first attempt at it and failed, but at least it only took me 10 minutes to go, okay, womp womp.
It doesn't take long.
Like, all right.
But I would even say this, because this is another beautiful part of playing that game. some people like to just breeze through. They don't want to do side missions or anything like that. I honestly feel like doing the side missions make the ending so much better. Because you'll see some of these people you helped there at the end. And then it's like it brings this sense of community to the characters and everything. And I was like, oh man, because I knew who they were. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, that's the dude. Ah, that's the dude. Yeah. And that just made it so much better.
Is there multiple endings for it, or is it just?
No, it's just one ending. But like I said, the kind of the way the community, because it's supposed to be like the Spider-Man of Harlem in a manner of speaking. I wouldn't even say that's true, but you can say that.
Sure.
But I don't know. It was so good story wise. What else did I play? Oh, Bug Snacks.
Did you?
Bug Snacks?
Yeah.
It's surprisingly charming.
Is it?
And dark.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like in the weirdest possible way. Like when you see this and you would just want to dismiss it. I mean, like, the hell is this? Bug Snacks. But it gets dark.
Well, I was curious, but it was one of it looked too cutesy, so I wasn't sure. And then the song got played so much before it released that I hated it for the song alone.
Well, you won't have to hear that song in there, or at least if it is, it may have been in the
Like
credits or
menu
something
screen
like that.
or something. Yeah.
No, I don't even remember that.
Oh yeah.
I recommend
that was
playing.
just some jingle they did for marketing that made me mad.
may have been. Don't dismiss it. Check out Bug Snacks because there's a deeper story there that I just wasn't expecting. And talk about representation. Holy crap. Just about every couple in there. You got the main character that you're looking for. She has a girlfriend. Then you have this scientist and his big buff bro boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
But they don't really seem to realize that they're together because the one guy's like, "Oh, I just want to say something, but I don't know what to say. And should I?" And then when he finally confronts him, he's like, "Dude, what are you talking about? Like, I thought we already kind of knew what we were.
Thought we went through this."
Yeah. So to me, that was surprising because you would think this cutesy thing, you'd be like, "Oh, we can't do that." But no, they just do not give a shit.
Good.
Because it's like, hey,
really?
let's tell a real story.
Right.
With animals who turn into food. That's the weird part. The Bug Snacks are this weird creature on the island. So say you have a strawberry with legs and eyes, and they all have like little googly eyes. So you can capture them, and they'll give you all these different ways to capture them. And then you feed them to someone, and then a part of their body can change into that thing.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
So you feed a pineapple to somebody, and you can make their hair all pineapple, like the whatever you call it. Yeah.
That's their new power.
No, they just that's like a side effect.
Now.
Yep.
Okay.
And then so you can turn these what were they called? Grumbles. These are the people on the island. You can feed them all sorts of bug snacks and turn them into the most hideous of creations.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would abuse that system, I think.
And they encourage it.
Okay, well, there you go. All right. I shouldn't have slept on that one, it looks like. Because I wasn't it on the PlayStation free game December, November, something like that. It was very recent.
Yeah. So I recommend it. Just and I think that's the other beauty part about it is kind of like a puzzle element. Like there are a bunch of areas in which to catch bug snacks, but they are not gigantic areas. Like this is not a huge open world game. It's like here's one part of the island, here's another little part of the island, here's another little part. So they keep it very contained, and they kind of all circle around with one another. So traversal is pretty easy. I think the challenge is trying to catch certain bug snacks because they can be fickle, they can be shy, they can be aggressive. So some of them are easy to catch. Others you have to sit there and think, well, how the hell am I going to get this thing? So,
all right.
Yeah. Recommended.
Recommended.
But beyond that, let's get on to some news.
let's get on to some news. Well, let's see. What happened of note? Well, I feel like we ended the year talking about Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Could start it with that too. Briefly though, because I'm not really sure what else needs to be said. We're all kind of aware of the mess that just turned into.
Mm-hmm.
But this week, the man himself, Marcin Owinski, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, posted a video and did their own apology there for just everything that could have gone wrong with the game and did. So he apologized for the, awful launch of the game. He took full responsibility for what happened, asked players to please not take this out on the developers of the game, reminding us that they are hardworking. They're not the ones to blame. They set these time frames and everything and just expected them to go along with it. So there was like 3 parts to this video. Is how I would break it down. Obviously, the apology, the meat and potatoes of it, what we plan on doing moving forward, right? So at the top, the explanation, what happened, we screwed up, we thought we could do this, hard reset in 2016, basically changed the whole name of the game, COVID adjustments, this, that, or the other, laying it all out there. The one problem, though, that I think some people took issue with, and even me, I find it was kind of a little, however you take this part of it, but when he was talking about the console version of the game and why it was such a mess, he says that, that their QA didn't turn up the same things that everyone else was experiencing in the game. And so, did you throw QA under the bus? Did nobody just play the game?
That doesn't add up at all.
Because he was like, our testing did not show a big part of the issues you experienced while playing the game. So no one tested it. They lied to you about it. They told you and you just ignored it. More clarity on that point, I think, would be nice, because yes to any of those questions, I feel is not a good look. Perception, right? But he does go on to give us a roadmap for the game. No dates, which is probably fair. Stop doing that. But showing us that they're still planning to try to earn our trust back over time. So it really just kind of looks like this whole year is going to be spent fixing it, updating it, doing all those things, probably what they should have been doing before releasing the game and just giving it that extra time. Maybe it'll get what I've been hearing people say, the No Man's Sky treatment, that once, they get their act together and move forward, now that we're all examining them under a microscope to move here forth. But yeah, it was just kind of a strange thing. I mean, good for him for trying to come out and saying that, that we're just bad at our job.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what it just sounded like we were just bad at organizing this whole thing and doing everything accordingly. One of the things that's been floating around too is, to make matters worse, it seems like that whole chunk we might have seen at E3 in 2018 completely faked for the sake of showing it off there at E3. Players were led to believe this was part of a mission. If you remember the whole scene where they're basically taking you on a tour of the game.
Right.
If you can remember from that far back. That at that time, CDPR hadn't finalized the coding and the gameplay systems, which is why a lot of the things that were promised was cut. And the devs have spoken up about that and saying that whole demo that was showed off at E3 was just kind of a huge waste of time. We could have been using that whole time to actually make the game and work on the game, but instead we were making this fake thing to show off to everybody that was never going to be in the game. But if you want to read more about it, Jason Schreier wrote a really long, detailed Bloomberg article about the whole thing, breaking things more down if you were more interested in the how CDPR itself was running and everything during that time. Just a big mess. But Poland's Office of Competition and Consumer Protection has officially opened an investigation into CDPR over the launch of the game. So a spokesperson for the agency said that they're going to be keeping an eye. They're asking CDPR to fix it, make it right, and they will be checking back in from time to time, it sounds like, to ensure that is happening. So if they don't, If they don't, CDPR could face fines up to 10% of its annual revenue. Remember how much the sales and stuff were? Yeah, so a huge chunk of change. So keep yourself on track here, okay? Poof. What a mess. What a mess. What a mess.
Yeah.
But there was some kind of good news for people this week.
Okay.
If you're a Star Wars fan, you probably rejoiced.
Woo!
I'm telling you, big announcement. We have Lucasfilm Games returning, a.k.a. used to be Lucas Arts Entertainment for us old fogies, and taking them Star Wars with them. So if you remember, I'll tell you a tale, children. Pull up a seat. Way back in the day, Disney bought up Lucasfilms here and Star Wars Multimedia for like $1 gajillion, you see. It was a few billion, I think. But then they just shut down LucasArts in 2013 and sold off that licensed Star Wars to EA. And Star Wars gamer fans have been kind of sad ever since.
Yeah.
But Disney has come out saying that this is now the official identity for all gaming titles from Lucasfilms. So wait a minute. We sold it to EA. What's going on with that, right? Like, they still got a couple years on their license. I've seen some rumors floating that Disney may try to buy out the contract with EA.
Good.
Like, you know, or even try to, I guess, have talks over what it could look like for them to be making games at the same time. You know, but I would imagine the license probably for EA would be up before we even see the first game out of Lucasfilms. Personally, I feel like, you know, a couple years isn't long enough. But I don't know how long they've been working on the game already.
Yeah.
We could have just been hearing about it. But regardless, as of this writing, I could only find a tweet from EA in response to the whole thing. Basically, they just said, we love Star Wars. We look forward to making more Star Wars games. BD1 is still the cutest. And that was it. So it sounds like they're still going to continue to make whatever they might be having in the works right now. And time will tell, because this is still very early announcement, but I'm excited to have them back.
Oh yeah,
They made
for sure.
great games.
They just need to have the right people making said games, because I'm sure you have the Ubisoft open world
Sure do.
Star Wars game announcement, which, you know, you had an opportunity and you went to Ubisoft.
I was wondering about that too, but maybe I've heard a lot of people saying that, you know, with like The Division, for example, was a very well-built world, full to explore, all this kind of stuff. Some people are more excited for the world that they know they can build because it's more like massive entertainment under that, you know?
Yeah. The company is just, it's really got a black eye right now, and that's
right
where
now,
you want to go.
Sure, was probably optics-wise not a great time.
Yeah.
Or maybe held off on making that announcement. But yeah, no, that was the next part right here. They're in cahoots, Ubisoft and Lucasfilms, for an open world Star Wars game. So according to Ives Guillemot, am I ever going to get his last name right? I think I got his first name finally. Ives, right? I think I finally got that. So that guy from over there says this is just the start of a long collaboration with Disney. So it sounds like there isn't a whole lot much more to go on than that. Than, hey, we're planning to do this, we're talking it out, and you know, they're starting to get fully staffed for the project. Although he did tease to Wired that the game will be an original Star Wars adventure that is different from anything that has been done before, and also said that the games would continue to be treated as canon with the film, TV, book, and comic releases. That's the promise.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Now, I guess my big question at this point is when will it take place? Because before all of these announcements came through, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, whoever was doing this launched a big campaign called the High Republic, where they're releasing a bunch of stories and merch, and I don't know what the whole big thing.
Right.
It was just pretty much just like, hey, look at all this stuff we're gonna give you.
Right.
And it's supposed to take place like 200 years before any of the movies have, like from episode 1. So far removed, but not far enough removed because we still have Yoda.
Sure.
But still, far enough removed that we don't have to worry about Skywalkers and Palpatines and all that other crap. Sure, I would kind of like this game to take place then. That's what I'm kind of wanting in my Star Wars right now. Get away from all this stuff because if you hinge on that for so long, it starts to become like, oh, God damn it, here we go again. I love them. I love them. But there's a whole freaking universe out there.
Right? It's like you have the whole galaxy.
Go explore.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel you. Like the world is kind of your oyster in that regard.
Yeah. Like I didn't have a problem with Grogu because it was like, holy crap, there's another one.
Right?
For the first time ever, there's another one and it's legit. Okay, tell me about it. And then they're like, spoilers, 3, 2, 1. Oh, by the way, here's Luke Skywalker. What? It was cool. It was cool.
All right.
Don't get me wrong.
But
you brought back in something that I thought we were away from.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I get it. It was a nice little connection of fabric. Great. But you took away the thing I wanted to know more about.
Yeah.
Don't. What are you doing? Oh, come on.
Well, now maybe we'll have a better chance at it with more chefs in the kitchen. I don't know.
Get the right chefs.
Get the right chefs would probably be, yeah. But I have a little bit more faith if it's some of the same people still involved, although I have no idea since they dissolved it, sold it off, and trying to bring it back in again. I'm just going to try to remain hopeful, especially for all the Star Wars fans, because I felt the excitement upon hearing that EA will not have exclusive rights to it moving forward after this one. I mean,
I think that's the big kicker. Exclusive rights. Do not give someone else exclusive rights. Allow everybody that opportunity because, okay, sure, Ubisoft is going to do something, but I don't know who else.
That's true. We might get oversaturated too. Is another big problem.
Very
with
true.
That. So,
but what if you have certain studios making very particular games? So, say Ubisoft is going to do the open world, and what if you give I don't know who does racing games.
Another point and click adventure, Star Wars, or
maybe somebody could make a new pod racer game.
Somebody could make
which would
like
be cool.
a fighter game, even
a fighter game. Yes, because that didn't go over very well last time.
I don't know. Figure you're just swapping them for Star Wars people or aliens at that point. So
I want. Well, I guess they did. I don't know.
Another racing game.
Yeah, that's what I said. The pod racer. That would be cool.
Oh, the pod racers. I didn't hear you, but yes. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, redo that. Not the blocky, pixelated remaster you put out.
Another Lego.
Yeah, a legit pod racer game. So, who knows?
We're giving you all these ideas, people. Run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the fans. Nintendo gave us some stuffs, too. Nintendo showed us some stuffs while we were on break. We got to look at Super Mario 3D World, which will be ported over to the Switch in February. It adds Bowser's Fury bonus adventure, which looks kind of cool from the stills that I saw. So it was from the Wii U originally. So coming to the Switch, you'll also get some online play, which they're saying is some new stuff for this. A photo mode, because I know that's like a big deal in games these days, and I never take advantage of them. I don't know. And apparently, Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad moves faster than they did in the original game. Yeah, so you can play online for up to 4 players, but it does require a Nintendo Switch Online membership. Heads up, if you want to do the online stuff. Snapshot mode, where you could take all your screenshots with those fancy filters and whatever else fancy fun stuff they put in there for you to make your picture look all fancy and fun. See how many times I could say that. And the fact that they move faster. Those are supposedly the new features that will be coming into the port. And then with Bowser's Fury, it looks like you can play as the second player. You could be Bowser Jr. for some co-op fun.
I did say that, yeah.
Yeah, so look for that. Supposedly February 12th. I'm going to say supposedly for every release date this year, because I think we all should still just be prepared for the... Although it is done. It's just being ported, but still.
Doesn't hurt.
And a new Pokemon Snap game.
I can't wait for this.
to be released on April 30th. There you go. Well, here, talk about it, because like I don't play them, so my excitement is minimal.
Okay, well, no. What's beautiful about this is you don't have to actually play Pokemon to enjoy Pokemon Snap. I'm just very curious to know what they're going to do, because I played, like, there was an original Pokemon Snap. I think it was on the N64, and when it first came out, I was like, well, I'm curious. I think I was kind of getting into Pokemon, but it was just kind of like a casual thing. And this seemed different. So all you're really doing is taking pictures of Pokemon, kind of an on-the-rails thing, and then you'll kind of run by them and just, like you're what do you call them? A nature photographers.
Like when you're at the zoo and you're on the train and you're just getting drove by all the things. Okay.
And then you're just... So the first time you go through on in that game is, you're on a beach and you just go through this little area and there's all sorts of Pokemon around you and you just snap, snap, snap. But then you are given items and then you can go back to those and interact with the Pokemon in some way. And then that gives you a different take on what's going on. So say you see Pokemon, or you see Pikachu running through the sand and you snap it and it's like, oh, there's a Pikachu. Cool. But then you have an apple and then you chuck the apple out into the sand and there's a surfboard right near where you threw the apple. Well, Pikachu's going to see the apple, and then he's going to spot the surfboard, and he's going to jump on the surfboard and start doing like this. You take a picture of that, and then that's now a surfing Pikachu, which gives you more points.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
because
like catch them doing this thing or manipulate it to where they can do said thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of a puzzle game too then, huh?
A little bit.
Okay.
So then you get ranked on your picture, how good it was, how it was framed, things like that. So it's not about really Pokemon. It's more of a photography game with Pokemon in it. And then you can just alter and change, trying to find the rare Pokemon, how you can get them to come out of their little shell. And it could just be random things. You can make them evolve sometimes, or you can make them do... It's really fun. It's a really fun concept. And so
that sounds cute.
I'm loving I'm excited to see what they are going to do with this. Because are you just going to emulate that, or are you going to take it a step further in some way?
Well, I would hope they're going to add some, hopefully, new features and everything to it. Yeah, well, we'll see April 30th, or probably a little before when people start getting their hands on it. I put in some news about Quantic Dream because it's small. But David Cage tweeted out, been a while since we'd heard anything from him, really. His Happy New Year tweet teased us about all the things that should be in store for 2021, which I'm excited for because now that it's not 100% exclusive to the PlayStation because of funding, because they did get that NetEase money, which is why you started seeing some stuff floating over to PC and everything again. I'm just excited that it's getting broadened and back to PC, personally. Yeah. And he started on PC. I like the fact that it's coming back to PC. But he put a picture of Detroit Become Human on the tweet. Now, was that just because it was the last game they did and he's like, hey, or is there a deeper meaning? Is there a DLC, another iteration of the Detroit Become Human? Am I just reaching for anything because I'm trying to make this news? I don't know. But I'm a fan and I will be keeping my eye on what's coming out because I think he tells amazing stories. Now with extra cash and all that kind of stuff, I'm curious to see where it goes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious to see where it goes. I've always been a fan, even though they are really weird stories, and sometimes he just likes to end them, which makes no sense to what you were doing prior, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. Little insight to me. But hey, Hitman 3, eh? Did you watch some of that stuff this week?
A little bit. Not a whole lot.
Last week, I guess I should say.
I didn't dive in too deep.
Well, we did get some more news for it. I mean, it is coming out here soon, as we all know. Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to think what today's date is. I mean, I really dig what it's looking like here. Expanding more on the disguises of Agent 47 even. Looks like more like private investigation, role play even a little bit. And those who have VR for the PlayStation. Full
I'm
VR.
curious about
You can,
that, yeah.
I am too. I mean, straight up being the killer. I don't know, man. Like that might, we're gonna have way more people trying to say violence in video games again, and we're just gonna get paid to make that same study over again. But here you go. I too want to be a scientist to do the same thing over and over and over again. Anyway, but the guided mission stories seem like a lot of fun. Like they've always kind of had like an overarching storyline to them, kind of, but it does look like it's more narrative. And in the way that you can manipulate the different ways to do it, which has always been the fun of Hitman, right? Is replaying and then discovering all of the different ways that you could have, in fact, accomplished that goal. So it is saying that by the way, missions are optional. So if you still just want to play it the way that it is and how you've always done it, totally cool to do. It is picking up where 2 left off, narratively speaking. It seems to be shining more here than in the previous 2, as I just said, as far as like story. Some reviewers are stating that the story has taken really huge explosive turns, which... as a game story addict playa, I dig it. The maps look like it's going to be pretty immersive, like we're always used to with the Hitman. I always think their maps are always gorgeous and really fun to explore. You look at the England map. People were saying that that's more of a nod to the movie's Knives Out. Did you read that and see?
I didn't see that.
That
no.
map. And like when I was looking at the stills and stuff, I'm like, okay, I could see the inspiration there. If that is in fact what the inspiration was. Like the Dubai map looks amazing and colorful and lots of little things in and out. The China map with like the neon lights and just how electric. They've always done well in their environments, I think. But yeah, so I mentioned the VR earlier. So what's really interesting here is that you can play the entire game in first-person VR, but I was also reading that if you have access to the last 2 Hitman games, so if you already owned them, that you could play that in VR too, is what I'm hearing. So go back and play the first 2 in this trilogy in VR. Could be interesting as well. Although it does say you have to have them already. So if you've already owned them, fine. It's not just a free upgrade that you get when you buy this one.
So, okay. So let me understand this. So could I play Hitman in VR without having to buy this one, or do I have to buy this one to
You have to buy this one, to my
crap.
understanding. Like, yeah, and then it'll have that access if you already own the first 2 in this version of the series.
I don't like that.
But you might want to play the third one anyway.
I don't know what it was. I felt like I didn't get into Hitman, the new one, and even though it was the same thing, like as I remembered, but I just
yeah.
I don't know what
the
it was.
episodic was different.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I mean, the idea of what you're doing, I don't know why I didn't feel like I got into this one as much as I did Absolution. That's the one that really sucked me in.
That's fair.
But I don't know. And I can't really fault the story or anything. I just, I felt like maybe the pacing was just a tad slower than I wanted.
I feel like the second one was really bad for story. Like it was there, but it didn't feel like it was a main focus. It was just there to try to tie everything in together. Whereas the first one, I thought it did much better. But they presented the story differently, too. It's interesting how they've been doing each one just kind of slightly different than the one before it, but it's still being all the same universe in this version or however you want to do it. But yeah, so from what I can gather, there are new gadgets, as you would expect with any Hitman game, like all the different kinds of stuff that you could use to kill your targets. There was like camera mode that looked different, though, that I had seen before, where it looks like you could use that with a different spin, where there's different filters and zooms that maybe could unlock certain windows or things that you were trying to get into. And quick points. So, like, if you go through a map for the first time, you might see what would have been a shortcut. The first time you do it, you have to take the long way around. But if you can unlock that shortcut, it stays open for you in the future, which is interesting for replayability. If you want to come back and try it a different way, now there's this whole new way to sneak around before a certain time. Anyway, I thought it looked neat. January 20th. You got for PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, Xbox One, Stadia, Switch, and PC. God, we got a lot of
That was a lot.
Places to announce now when
Mm-hmm.
games come out. But of course,
Right.
you PC people, Epic exclusive for a little bit. So it is on a timer. So apparently if you have 1 and 2 on Steam already, you can import your saves over to your Epic account somehow. If you want to go through that trouble, I don't know. But there you go. There you go. I think it looks cool. I think it looks fun. And then this one I just threw in because I thought it was kind of funny, interesting. And remember Dead or Alive?
I do.
That video, yeah. So last little bit of news while we were away, another gaming lawsuit happened, but this one was more interesting because if you're familiar with the Dead or Alive series, which was a fighting game with very voluptuous, scantily clad women with oversized assets, which was kind of the key draw, which of course had volleyball spin-offs, which also featured said assets. But Team Ninja, the developing team behind the game, has said before that while this game clearly has a focus on certain features being crazily overproportioned and tailored to a specific crowd, that they still do not wish for this game to go too far with it in the way of mods. Like, they don't want people making those kind of mods with their games, which
Gotcha.
seems to be the reason the developing team held off on releasing it on PC for so long. Knowing
Yeah,
full
fair enough.
well how humans are. So in 2015, they took that leap and actually asked sincerely for fans to play their game, and I quote, in a good and moral manner. But of course, in less than 24 hours, nude mods were created. And of course, this is just how it is. Now, we jump to 2021, when a publisher has now decided to take action on the seller of a DVD that has footage of the game featuring these mods. They plan to file criminal and civil charges. And also promises to continue to take strict measures against copyright infringement. So Koei Tecmo, I hope I said that right, has released a statement confirming that they're going after them. Reproduction and distribution of our work without our permission in that way infringes on our copyright holders and is illegal. We will take these measures if we see our game being used this way. We don't deny derivative work, but we may take action based on the discomfort felt by our fans and the feelings of the developers. So they're saying, like, we made this like this in good fun and all this kind of stuff, but we don't want you making it filthy, gross, and taking it down this way.
Right.
So if you're doing it and selling it, sounds like they're going to keep an eye and go, no, it's okay to have all this kind of stuff, but we don't want you taking it too far. So we'll see
Fair
how
enough.
that ends up.
Yeah.
Bunch of quick hits, though.
Okay.
Bunch of quick hits. I didn't know this. Did you know that the ESA had a super PAC, had a political action committee?
I did not.
Well, they said they'd be halting their political contributions now. So there you go.
Okay.
I have found out all sorts of people had PACs this week that I had no idea, or last week, the week before. Arcane Austin Studios, Harvey Smith says he's working on a new project with the Dishonored and Prey devs. Although he was involved in the Dishonored games as a creative director, but it could be a new fantasy game. So something to keep your eye on there. They're working together with them. I know. Let's see. Last of Us HBO series got a new director. Oscar-nominated Kantemir Balagov is now taking the director's seat. He was the one that was Oscar-nominated for Beanpole. I think he lost to Parasite that year. So apparently,
Okay.
I never saw the movie.
I didn't
But
either.
I remember when Parasite won. So it was that year.
Did you watch Parasite?
I didn't, and I've been told a million times I need to.
It's really good.
I need to. I can still get that, right? Like on
Hulu, I think.
Hulu, I was going to say. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have to check that up. I only brought this up because I know we initially, they had announced that Johan Renck from the Chernobyl director was the one who was supposed to be collaborating with Mazin. Scheduling conflicts apparently occurred, though, so nothing nefarious or anything like that. I'm
That
sure
we know
COVID
of.
hit, took other jobs, and then, now they weren't available. That's my assumption. But now this one's really nice. Ghost of Tsushima players helped raise $260,000 to restore a real-life shrine on Tsushima Island in Japan.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. On September 7th, 2020, a typhoon hit the island and it destroyed the torii gate at the shrine. So one of the shrine's priests launched a crowdfunding campaign and the players of the game caught wind and stepped up. So they blasted through the goal of what they needed. Rebuild is now scheduled to break ground in April, and names of all of the biggest donators will be inscribed on a steel plaque. See, players coming together for good.
Yeah. They can all... We may talk about the negative a lot, but there's so much good out there that I feel like it outdoes
we
the
gotta
bad.
remember that. And it was kind of cute reading the article on some more, because like the priest was like, I had no clue. Like, I don't know about this game or whatever, but these people came out and helped. And it was just kind of cute. So I was like, GG players, this is what we need to be doing. Let's keep spreading that positivity around.
For sure.
Halo.bungie.net will be taken offline forever on February 9th.
Oh.
I don't know. I guess it's been on there for a long time. So like 9 years ago they started it. So like all of the stats and files from like the previous franchises in the game, like it stopped getting updated. But then I don't know. So if you have any stats on there or whatever from like Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST I wrote down, and Halo Reach, you might want to grab it because it's going away. So they did remind people, if you want to do this, it dates back to 2013. So just be prepared that it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of files if you want to keep all that kind of stuff. But if you're the type that needs all that stuff because you like to keep it for your stats and everything, hurry up. On February 9th, it's gone. You're not going to be able to get it back. So did you see the Mortal Kombat 11 first-person mod that someone came up with?
I did.
Did you throw up a lot?
No. I was waiting for a fatality. I don't know if I missed that or not.
It was just the spinning and the jumping and the quickness of like, woof, nope.
It did look a little much.
It was a little much, but you see what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of Mortal Kombat, we got some images for Mortal Kombat First Legacy. Did you see the still shots from the?
We should be getting a trailer very soon because the movie is due in April, is it not?
I believe so, actually. Yeah, I was just looking through the one, somebody tweeted out a bunch of stills, and I was looking there, so that's where I got my information. There was no like, unless it probably popped up since I wrote this last night or something, and I just missed it. But it looks okay. Looks like it could be promising from what you can tell from still shots.
I'm excited to see what they do. I still need to actually check. Did you ever see the animated movie that came out maybe a year or so ago? It was like Scorpion's Revenge or something.
I did not. No.
I wanted to check it out simply because they were just like, it's Mortal Kombat and it's R-rated. And I was like, cool. I want to see blood and cartoons and such. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, this movie's coming out and it's supposed to be R-rated. And they're like, the fatalities are brutal and all this other stuff. So I'm like, okay.
Let's see.
Just because you're promising something like that doesn't mean your movie's good.
That's true. Gore porn does not mean good necessarily. No. You got to be careful with that.
I mean, look, the games have a very good narrative. It might have been kind of skimpy at first, but what they've built over time, it's a very interesting narrative. It's very deep in lore and all this other stuff that they've added to. If the filmmakers could not take that and mold it into something good, they're idiots. I don't know if they haven't. This could be this could be the groundbreaker beyond Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hopefully.
But I don't understand how you can have such rich story content and you fumble it. Stop trying to cram every damn thing into a game movie. Just focus on the story, the narrative, and use what you can. You'll get to that other stuff.
I still feel like we just gotta have more fans of these games being involved in the actual movies.
Well, according to the filmmakers, these are fans, so
then we'll see. We'll see. I just feel like in the past it hasn't necessarily always gone that route. You know, it's like where the director may have even no clue about the game. I'm not saying that's always the case, but some of them where it's like you could tell the feel was off because they just didn't.
But I mean, it looked like Liu Kang had powers this time. He had like the flaming hands. Kung Lao, I liked his hat. I mean, that was cool.
It all looked solid.
It looked solid, yes.
Yeah, for sure. So
but we need.
Hopefully, it's not deceiving.
I want to see a trailer.
Yeah. Hopefully. I know, you poor thing. We need to get you all sorts of trailers out. We
Yeah.
gotta get you
Okay.
something going
Since
here.
we're on this topic
we're
now, I was
doing
going to
it,
bring it up
yeah.
later, but we're just going to talk about it now. Okay. Because Warner Brothers is the devil.
Yeah.
Because during this nice little HBO Max and all your movies and trailers and theaters and it's also on HBO Max same day, they showed what were it's kind of funny because you're talking about those screenshots.
Yeah.
They actually showed those same screenshots but in motion from Mortal Kombat in that.
Like an old
so it was
school
like
cartoon.
actual footage.
Yeah.
It's like,
Interesting.
hey, stop, snapshot, and then we'll feed that to Entertainment Weekly and they'll eat it up.
You know what though? What if they're just like, it's so awesome and amazing that they just can't really afford to show you anything about it because it just all could be spoilery, and then maybe we'll have a conversation, a day after you saw the movie and you'd be like, you know what? Glad I never saw anything about it. I don't know. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate for a minute.
I know, but
Not the look he's giving me.
I haven't even gotten to what, because I was talking about Mortal Kombat
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
because that's what they did.
We were all over the place.
That's what they did.
I thought you were talking about.
No, I'm talking about Godzilla versus Kong because they not only have we not gotten a trailer, but do you know what they did this week? They moved up the release date.
Oh.
Which I'm excited about.
Sure.
Because
yeah.
they're saying we were going to release it in May, into May, but how about this? March 26th.
Ooh.
2 months away.
That's a huge leap. Yeah.
I'm freaking excited. But I haven't seen shit about the movie. I've seen all this concept art.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen maybe 5 seconds of the damn movie, which actually centers around this concept art.
Uh-huh.
All it is like the concept art that I first saw was Godzilla and Kong standing on what looked to be an airship carrier. And you're just like, holy crap. And they're just like, like that.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. Where's the trailer?
Right.
And then back in December, they had this big trade show or whatever back in, I think it was in Brazil, where they were showcasing a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then 2 or 3 seconds got leaked from that same area of the film. So you see Godzilla swimming, and then you see Kong, who looks to be like tied down, just roaring at the screen, and that's it. And they're like, what the hell was that?
Come on.
And it was like,
man.
okay. So that was just a snippet. You're gonna give us a trailer, right? No. And then now this week, this freaking thing comes out.
Yeah.
And then now we get to see almost like the continuation of what we saw before, because now Godzilla's jumping out of the water onto the boat, and then Kong is swinging at him and punches him. And it's cool. But it's just like, okay, more. I want to see. Just give me a little trailer, and I will be satisfied for the next 2 months, because you just satiated it, and I'll be fine. But they're just like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Maybe it is a marketing ploy like that. Maybe it is. I don't know, man.
It's garbage. Every other movie has a trailer.
That is true, though. To be this far along and have nothing, that is really weird.
They have
I don't know
it.
if I've heard of that before.
They have it. They're being
not.
devious.
They're holding on to it, man. Maybe they're looking at all these people this year falling over themselves with promises, and they're like, you know what? We might just want to wait.
But you know what? This is almost like the extreme version of what, and this could be it, but this almost seems like an extreme case of what they were deciding for this film, because according to executives, this is from what I heard, Godzilla King of the Monsters underperformed because they went a little overboard with their marketing. And I was like, did they?
So they're trying the opposite.
And I thought about it, and I was like, I mean, I get maybe, but
they show all the good stuff in the trailers or something. One of those
little bit
moves.
Little bit. But I think they were trying to be aggressive. It's like, no, we got the big monster movie. We got the big tent pole. Boom. Look at all this action. And we're like, all right, cool. So maybe they overdid it. But this is not overdoing it. This is doing absolutely nothing. I mean, at least one trailer. I'm not asking for 5 or 6. Just give us one.
Just one. Even
Just
30 seconds.
give me a basic understanding of the narrative that's going on in the movie, I'm good. You don't have to show me everything.
30 minutes of just that fight that you keep describing.
That would be insane. I mean, I have questions, and they're apparently returning characters, whatever it may be. But just something. Just
give me something. Just give the fans.
I want to know what the story is,
right?
And then I'm good for the next 2 months.
Well, I'm hopeful it just means it's going to be that much more cool when you sit down to watch it because it's brand new. Nothing. You have no idea going in blind with it.
And I hate that I probably will not see this in theaters because that was my dream, to see this in theaters. Take my dad and he and I go and see this together. But maybe we could still sit at home and watch it on HBO Max on a slightly bigger TV if possible.
Get some popcorn, hang out.
We'll see.
Give him a trailer, guys.
That's all I want.
That's all he wants. Make him a happy man. A hilarious glitch happened in the PlayStation store while we were on a break. So players went to go buy Greedfall or Dead Cells even, and was met with a 10,000-pound price tag.
Did hear that? Yeah.
If you go look for them now, they undercut themselves with $60 now. So, you know. Could you imagine at first being like, wait, what? Trying to get that to go like.
Yep. No. I'd be like, I don't want it that bad.
It's just so that 70 doesn't look so bad, right? It's like 10,000. Okay. How's 7? Okay. 70 doesn't seem so bad now. You're right. Let's see here. Last Quicket. January 21st. We were supposed to get some more Resident Evil Village stuffs. So including a new trailer, some first gameplay looks, it promises a guided tour during this digital event. So that's something you're interested in. January 21st, 2 p.m. PST or 5 p.m. Eastern. And it'll be hosted by Brittany Brombacher of the What's Good Games podcast series. So go check that out. All right. So for Truth or Trash, guess what I did?
What did you do?
We tallied your truth or trash from last year.
Okay.
Now, I didn't do it in the most exciting way, probably, but
no, I'm curious.
I was looking through it, and I should be ashamed of myself that I did not do hardly any real truth or trashes last year. I think it just became one of those where so many rumors were floating in and out all week long because all of us were home doing nothing that I probably just got overwhelmed. And I'm like, I don't even know anymore. But I only asked of you 21 truth or trashes last year. So I really feel like I should have done more.
It's okay.
But you got 7 true. Now, I only highlighted a couple because some of them I had to pat myself on the back because I was proud because I just like totally made it up. And then you would say true. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. You know, because it's rare that I can get you on stuff like that. So pretty much all of the Resident Evil rumors, you hit the nail on the head. When I was asking if this was going to happen or that, truth or trash, Steven knows his Resident Evil rumors for sure. I'm sorry, 8 out of the 21.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
a big fat liar. I had to scroll down some more. Well, 8.5 because there was a 2-parter.
Okay. Where
you got half right and half wrong because I made up half, but the half I didn't, you got right.
Gotcha.
So, I don't know. Like the ones that I put in, like with Metal Gear, we tried to throw you off. Sony was cutting a deal to acquire Metal Gear and Castlevania and all the Silent Hill IPs, and Kojima would somehow be involved in the whole thing. You actually said true on one of them.
Just one.
Yes, because the other half was that Kichiro Toyama, the original 99 Silent Hills director and writer, signed on to shoot the film in 2021 because that was the one I made up. But it wasn't at all that thing. You know? But the other one, too, 2K Games and Hangar 13 are in fact working on Mafia 4. Rumors are still floating off of those job listings, so it's still pointing to yes, which you said, sure, yeah, truth. So
why not?
You got that one. And let's see if there was another actual exciting one in here because I thought it was interesting to look up the year in review. Xbox that had one more acquisition. Microsoft was going to buy Ubisoft, and you said trash, so you were right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still kind of would have been interesting to see,
Would have been.
though. Especially now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, while we're talking of things like that, I've heard rumors. Here's my truth or trash.
Here we go. All right. Let's rumor and mill it up.
Is CD Projekt Red going to be acquisitioned by another company?
You know, I had been seeing some of that kind of the rumors going on because I mean they got some lawsuits coming their way. They've got all these things that are, you almost wonder if at the end it might benefit them.
Yep.
If it becomes too big.
I mean, I would hope that there's going to be some lessons learned with this because look, someone actually pointed this out not that long ago. It may have been Jim Sterling, it may have been someone else, I don't remember. But it was this idea of if you don't know when your game's going to be done, don't talk about it.
And they were so good to start, too.
Yeah.
When it's ready. When it's ready. When it's ready. Why we deviate or why they deviated is still beyond me.
Yeah, just keep it to yourself until you know with absolute certainty that you are at the finish line and that you are going to have that game ready when you say it's going to be ready. And then just do it.
Yeah.
Because think about the hype train at that point. You've not said anything. Let's use a great example for me, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Say Sony had said shit about it. Nothing at all. And then the year it came out, they were like, oh, by the way, Spider-Man. And I've been like, what? And then that whole year, or less than, I'm just hyped for this game, which obviously this is a bad example because it was a good game, but I'm just saying.
But I mean, it still worked out because it was a good game too.
Yeah, but I wasn't sitting there just like chomping at the bit going, when is it going to come out? When's it going to come out? And then just every year they're like, well, it's coming. It's coming. Hey.
Probably announcing it 8 years ago was a bad idea.
Yeah, it's coming. Okay, but God, come
Right.
on.
Right. Yeah, even like a hard reset in 2016, which we're finding out it happened. You know, we're basically, okay, now we're doing this and starting it all over. I don't know. I still thought it was a good game, but yeah, it needed some love.
It's
some love. And I've been saying that forever, is that I really don't think you should be saying much anything about the game until you know you're a hard 6 months out from release.
Well, I mean, think about some of the stuff that Sony did. And they're all guilty about it. I know that, but it's the only one that kind of comes to mind. The new God of War.
Yeah.
When they're doing their big PlayStation 5 event, and they're just like, God of War, Ragnarok.
Yeah.
You're like, cool. Can I see the
Showed us
game?
nothing. Yeah, no. We saw like a logo.
I mean, you announce something, and that's it. And it's like, son of a bitch.
I feel like they have gotten way too caught up in the marketing aspect of these games now. Way too caught up in making it seem like it's going to be cool, game breaking, never, instead of actually working on it. Even though I think the developers are wanting that. And then the higher ups keep doing this to them.
I mean, the marketing thing is just, Jesus Christ, come on.
It's out of hand. It's out of hand. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I know. I was looking through them now, and I was like, some of them aren't even. Oh. Okay, with speculations that have been running around about the new Batman series from WB Games Division, we did a truth or trash on whether Arkham Games would be a continuation of the series, but featuring Bruce Wayne's son. Rumors are still pointing to that being true. And you said true. So I just wanted to highlight some of the ones that you got right, because go through all of them was good. Some things that I was like, oh, excellent. We might have that we might actually have that coming. But I was looking through the one to see how I phrased it when we were talking about Sony's next gen console, like way back before we had dates or anything. Let's see how I phrased it. Sony's next gen console will be revealed at PlayStation meeting in March, with pre-orders opening after it. And you said true, which was about right, because February 13th was about when they started talking about it. So yeah. So the clairvoyance that is Stephen White. There you go. And obviously the ones I made up, you weren't going to get right anyway. So, so that's not fair. But yeah, so let's play one more because there's GTA 6 rumors that have been floating around, and I wasn't going to make this an official truth or trash because I felt like this rumor has been floating around rather openly to the point. Okay, but we might actually be getting the option of a female protagonist.
True. Has to be true at this point. It
has to, right? Like, I feel like why wouldn't you just give either option? Supposedly you'll still have the male option when you're, you know, from what very little we even know about the game still at this point. But yeah.
So
why not?
If that's the case, which honestly I wouldn't even give options.
Supposedly it would be both. Like you could choose a male or female protagonist.
So, but that raises a question now. Does the story maintain the same? Is it kind of like what they did in Saints Row where you could be male or female, but yet everything still plays out the same? Or are these very particular characters like in GTA 5 where they all have their own story or whatnot? And me personally, I could give a shit what the rest of the world thinks. If it was me, I would say women. It's an all-female GTA, bitches. Just because.
And you know what, though? What I find really interesting still about that debate, because it's still going to happen. I even saw one today about a different game. Most men that I know choose female protagonists when given the option quite often. I know I do as well. I'll still play men also. So I guess I'm having, maybe it's from my own personal experience because it's just the people that I'm around. But is it really a big issue, or is this an issue they just keep trying to use for a marketing ploy every once in a while? Because like I've never really seen anyone get pissy that they had to choose a female like legitimately, that wasn't trolling, that had like 2 followers, that was there to just stir up shit, you know? Like,
well, I mean, from where I'm standing, like I do choose the male character when it's me, not because I don't want to play a woman. It's where my brain goes. It's like,
but you have that option, and that's fair.
And
like, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, it's just that's in my brain. I see dude, I'm like, that's me. I go dude, and then but if they put a female character on me, I'm not like, I'm gonna play a girl, man. It's stupid. I'm playing a girl. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
That's why we say representation matters.
Yeah.
People like to see themselves in the games they're playing.
Yeah.
But, and there's another one I kind of wanted to play speculate with you. Okay. So I'm sure that you heard the rumors about Roger Clark, if you guys don't know the name, aka Arthur Morgan and Red Dead Redemption 2, could be working at Sony Santa Monica again. There's rumors that he's working on God of War. Who do you think he'd be?
I don't know. I mean, there's a whole plethora of characters they never used in the mythology, if you will. So your guess is as good as mine, but I could say that, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. There was a lot of like rumors going around about like stalking actors going into studios like, oh, they're doing mocap for this. Like, I think I even heard some rumors about like a new Star Wars game where they saw some other actors going in and doing mocap. They're like, oh, are they going in this? So I think we just.
I mean, there'd have to be some serious stalking if we're all still wearing masks.
Right. Well, that if. Yeah. But that's all I got, man. That's all I got. So to throw it over to Steven for how we're headlining this bad boy up today.
Well, I guess I'm gonna treat it like a mini pod because there's a lot of things I wanted to talk about, and if you want to chime in, if you've got things you want to talk about too, we'll chime in. I guess first things first, I did want to touch on some things to look forward to. One thing is out now, and the other one should be out next month, I believe I was told. I did guest spots on some podcasts, and I say plural. They were interesting. One is called Invest in Yourself, which is hosted by Phil Better. He's a pod mate of mine, if you will. It's about trying to get, like, I guess it's more like a journey of who you are, what got you into what you're doing, what you're trying to do, where have you gotten, and so on and so forth. He's had quite an amazing roster of people. It's not just podcasters. I mean, we're talking people who've got their own business and websites and a plethora of different things. I don't want to assume I know everybody's story, but everyone has a very unique tale. But it was a very interesting podcast to just open up and talk about, I guess, the journey here. Because I guess I hadn't really thought about it. It's like, what got me into podcasting and all this other stuff. And luckily I had an answer. It wasn't like, I don't know.
Right.
Because I wasn't sure what they were going to be asking.
Sure.
But boy, oh boy, did he get excited when he found out about the Amazon Prime.
It sounded like it.
Oh my God, he
listen.
was.
Yeah, it was cute.
It made me feel good. I
cute.
was like,
It
oh my
was
God,
really
that's amazing. The next one that I guest spotted on was the Fake Nerd podcast. I don't know if this one will be video or not. We did video, but I don't know if he's going to present it both ways. I don't know, but either way, you get to see my pretty face or my beautiful voice, whichever way you want to do it. But it wasn't like a super long podcast, but he asked different questions. Like when I went on that one, I thought it would be a similar round of questions, but he actually dug in a little bit more about how we kind of, I guess, my perception of the gaming world now versus when we started the podcast is like, do you think you would know as much as you do about the gaming industry now as you would back then? Like, are there things that you probably wouldn't know if you weren't doing the podcast?
Sure.
You know, people who are
Good
involved
question,
and news stories and stuff like that, or just turn a blind eye. We talked about the negativity in the gaming industry, positivity. And I realized at some point, I guess I felt like I was spinning it negative. And I was like, don't get me wrong, it's not all negative. I said, I just feel like they're the loudest voices in the room. There is a lot of positive.
Big headlines, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I didn't get a specific date on that, but he did say February. So when that comes out, you can check that out. The Invest in Yourself podcast is out right now. So if you want to go check that out, feel better. I can't remember what episode number I was, but I'm in there. You can just find Stephen White. And you'll find me.
I know it was last month, so it shouldn't be too hard. Scroll a little bit.
Shouldn't be that hard. Another thing that I noticed, and it kind of connected to this. Are you aware of a podcast gap editor?
No.
Okay. I don't know what this program is, but I feel like I've heard of it. In fact, I may have had a conversation with someone about it. But I'm starting to notice
it. A name of a program or a
I think it
product?
is. Yeah,
okay.
I think it is. It's some editing software that is supposed to edit your podcast and remove that.
Uhs and ums. Dead space.
Dead space. I feel like I've been noticing them a lot because conversations seem to run together. You know what I mean? Like I was listening to a bonus podcast of Fake Doctors, Real Friends where Donald Faison and Joelle Monique were talking Star Wars because they love Star Wars, and I guess it was almost like a test run because they've been talking about doing like a Star Wars themed podcast. But I noticed so much in that it was just like Joelle's voice was just robotic because it felt like all of her dialogue or all of her voice.
So it can bite you if you're the type that puts in those filler words a lot.
Yeah. And she's usually very precise about her tone and how she speaks. So when it's all running together like this, it's just it's like, whoa, shit, what the. But I've been noticing it in other podcasts, not as bad as that, but just other podcasts, and it's just like, why would you want to do that? I think of casual conversation.
Yeah. I feel like that would be kind of the point to listening to a podcast too, is because depending on what kind of podcast you're going for, of course, if you're going for just news or informational or something, that's going to have a different tone.
Right.
But
seems to
see,
be.
and then I make this long gap here where I'm like, I don't know. You guys comfortable in that silence? Do you like it?
You like that?
Yeah. It's not broken, I promise.
No, it's fine. It doesn't bother me. I mean, there are times like if I'm listening to one and there is a bit of a gap, I wait for a moment, but I don't freak out. Like, Why is there a gap? Because I realize the other person is trying to get their thought together.
It's like a human would when you're having a conversation.
And I guess at the same time, I don't necessarily need them to be going, like they're stuttering. They're just trying to gather their thought. Right. And sometimes it takes a minute. Sorry. We're human.
I guess if you use those filler words a ton, I know I've tried to get a lot better myself because I have noticed, especially if I get excited about a topic or something, the likes and the comes through. And then I'm annoying the hell out of myself listening to my own podcast back to me. And I'm like, that's got to cut out. I got to stop that. You know, but you don't realize it, but you've got to actively work at it.
Sure.
And I feel that I struggle with it every single time we have the podcast. I try to cut it out.
I know that I have actively made a point to try not to swear.
Yes, that's hard too.
Yeah, and
I have a potty mouth.
But it's a good exercise.
It really is.
Because we know that this is what we'd like to say, but we're being cognizant of what we need to say in the right way, so it comes off and it helps. I feel like it helps. So it's one of those things. I know I have a few choice phrases that I say a lot, and I don't think about it. It's just they come out when I'm in a conversation, and I don't know how to stop it.
That's like our autocorrect.
Yeah.
Did you mean? Like, yep, that's what I usually would say. You're correct. But I meant to do this time.
But I don't know what this program is, but I've just been noticing it, so I thought I would kind of bring it up. And if anyone knows what it is,
the program.
Yeah, if anyone knows what it is, let me know, because I don't know if I like it.
Yeah.
It feels
especially
unnatural.
If it's excessive in that way, it's still got to sound some sort of natural tenor to the conversation. I don't know.
Sure. Things that I have watched that I had to bring up. Yeah. Because I feel like I've watched some things. I'm trying to figure out where. I guess I'll start with the worst.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of Cruel Jaws?
Cruel Jaws.
Yes.
I don't think I have.
Now, if I told you that title, what would be your first inkling of what that movie is?
I'm instantly thinking of a really campy horror movie with sharks involved and silly teenagers on yachts.
Okay, you would be close.
No.
Cruel Jaws is the biggest ripoff of shark movies that I have ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Not only does the script liberally borrow from Jaws 1, 2, 3, and a few other. There was I think it's an Italian shark movie called The Last Shark. That one too. Okay. I mean, I'm not talking about, that's kind of like that scene. No, literally recreating the scenes from those movies, just with shittier dialogue. I mean, so shitty.
Well, they had to get the copyright out of there somehow, so they just rewrote a few of the words.
Like, you remember the sharks, well, the scene with the sheriff and the mayor in Jaws, where they're talking about shutting down the beach, and they're like, well, you said it was a shark bite. Do you think that's a smart move? No, well, are you sure it's a shark? No, it's not a shark. It could have been a boat. Same conversation, but it was less than, it's like, well, we realized it was a shark. And it's like, no, it was a boat. What? But no, it was a boat. Well, we're going to keep the beaches open. Because, we have to.
Because it's a boat.
I don't know. It was that was frustrating part number one. Number two, they literally took scenes from those movies and spliced them in. I shit you not.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yes. Because I'm like, that was from Jaws. What? Huh? What? Literally ripped those scenes off and spliced them in the movie for their shark, mind you, because they didn't have the budget. They didn't have the budget for a shark, so they put in scenes from other movies to have their shark in the movie. Like the one time you really get to see the shark, it's from the movie The Last Shark from Italy. Like, that's the clips they use
how
for
could
their
you get
shark.
away with that?
I don't know. So it
Wow.
almost seemed like they wrote their script around these scenes. It's like, well, what footage can we rip off? This one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, write everything around it, and we'll be able to use those scenes. Because sometimes it would just be like, why are you doing this? Oh, yeah, because you have footage for that, and you need to use it. Great.
Oof.
And
When did it come out? What year?
1995, and it was actually marketed as Jaws 5 in other countries.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So if you thought Jaws 4 was bad, no.
Oh, I never continued on that long. So
Jaws 4 was...
I was a one and done for
Look,
me. I was good on the original, and we called it a day.
I love Jaws. In fact, you want to talk about a travesty that I read or saw last night. Do you know, and this is no slight to the other movie, but did you know that Back to the Future has a higher IMDb rating than Jaws? The one damn near perfect movie ever made?
Interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
But leaving it in the hands of the people is kind of...
I know. That's where it
which
gets...
I guess is really the only hands you need it in, because we're the ones consuming it. But
But Jaws, Fight Me, is a damn near perfect movie. I say damn near because I'm sure there's something I'm missing, but you tell me one plot hole in that movie. You tell me one bad moment in that movie. You show me one mistake in that movie.
and you can't blame it on the age of it.
Nope. It's solid, beginning to end. Anyway, but Cruel Jaws stars a John Green lookalike.
Ooh.
Almost like... It's almost, I said this has to be John and Hank's long-lost brother because I swear to God he looks like them both.
Could be.
A Hulk Hogan impersonator, he has to be. He has to be because he looks so much like him.
About that.
And I literally, like, I've watched bad movies before, and this may be a reason I'd watch it again. I had moments where I laughed uncontrollably at the stupidity that I was watching.
Well, maybe that in and of itself means a job well done.
Perhaps. Because there was a scene.
I mean, you had a good time, right? So
Yeah. I mean, I did watch it to the end, but it was just like, Jesus Christ. Like, the destruction at the end where they were trying to blow up the shark because they planted something underneath the water, and then that was supposed to lure the shark and then make it blow up. And they used 5 different explosions to enforce that the shark died. Bah, 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 bah. And I was like, why did we watch 3 boats blow up? I don't know.
3 boats.
3 different boats blew up, but hey, the shark is dead.
The shark. We got him.
Then I'm trying to think of the other. Oh, yes. There's a little girl in a wheelchair, and they try to use this for your sympathy card in the movie. Her father is the Hulk Hogan impersonator. They did nothing to help understand like the shark myth that they're evil or that they just want to eat things or whatever. In fact, I almost feel like that this movie was trying to point out that this shark was trained by the military or some shit. It was a plot.
The shark was?
Yeah, like I felt like that was a plot point they were driving at some point, and I was like, what are you saying? What? You're nuts.
Get the shark in some camo.
But the little girl is asking questions about sharks. And instead of being, scientific about it, he's just like, well, she's like, why do sharks eat people? Well, because they get hungry. No, asshole, no. But But that's beside the point. It was just like that. That's literally as far as he got with her on that conversation. It was like, no, dude, that was the worst possible answer. You should, because all you're doing is making her more afraid of sharks versus saying, sharks normally don't attack people. It's a mistake. And so yada, yada, yada. You understand the whole thing.
Yeah.
But in that scene, he gets ready to read her a story. And it's the funniest damn thing ever because the moment he starts reading, she nods off like this, almost to say like, okay, I'm just going to fake I'm asleep because I don't want to hear this shit.
Uh-huh.
And the way it happens, You just have to see it for it to be funny. But I could not help but laugh because it was just, yeah.
Oh, see, I was totally hoping as soon as she fell asleep, then you were going to say the shark came out and ate him, and she was just unaware of the whole thing.
If it happened, it wouldn't have surprised me in the movie.
But it would have been hilarious.
And then there are those moments of crazy dialogue that just happen outside of just... You don't understand where they come from. Like the main character, the John Green, Hank Green lookalike, lost brother, the Green brother, that's what I call him.
There you go.
He's the biggest pushover in the movie where his girlfriend, she might as well just cheat on him because he's so focused on the shark and the science. And she's like, well, you never pay attention to me. It's always the science. And he's like, but baby, and then she goes and cheats on him. And he doesn't seem to be all that upset. He's just like...
Maybe she should have cheated on him with the shark.
I mean, maybe.
Might have evoked a reaction.
But he was just kind of mopey about it, like, But then, when the shark attacked her, okay, that's when he got mad.
Oh, yeah?
He got mad. Because the guy who was the mayor type or whatever, he confronts him at the hospital. Mind you, okay? Because they had the hospital scene straight out of Jaws.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And then, the mayor's there. He's like, how did I didn't know. And it's like, what are we going to do? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to put a bounty on the shark's head for $10,000, and we're all going to go hunt it down. This was a thing that happened. But then the Green brother comes in and is like, you let this happen, you fat fuck. It's like, whoa, dude.
Ooh, fighting words. Ooh.
I mean, he was hot. And it's like, where was this intensity a minute ago? She might still be with you and kind of wanted to be with you if you had that red hot intensity. It was weird. It's a weird-ass movie.
Sometimes I can appreciate those, though.
Amazon Prime, if you want to give it a go,
There you go.
maybe turn it into a drinking game. Every time they add in a scene from another movie, take a shot. You'll be plastered in no time.
But please do it safely and responsibly.
Yeah, drink responsibly. Next 3 things I want to talk about. TV shows. I know one that you watched. I guess we'll touch on this real quick. WandaVision.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
Yeah.
Can I explain that, as weird as this may be, as soon as that opening thing, the Marvel Studios logo came up, do you know, it just made me feel so good.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it's new content.
Withdrawals.
It's familiar. I love it so
Feels
much.
like the old days.
It did. It's weird, but it did. It gave me this sense of comfort that I didn't realize I was missing.
Yeah.
And I loved it so. And the show was good too.
It was good. And see, it's interesting, actually, because, you and the Hubs, big into the world, the comics, the whole thing. And I pretty much just float along to the movies that I enjoy. So it was kind of fun with me watching it next to a super fan because I was getting the filled in gap stuff that I probably was missing, having not read the entire stories or the different universes or this, that, or the other. So I probably... If you're a big fan of it, you'll probably really love it even more because then you'll be able to catch on to all the little nuances and stuff that someone like me won't catch on to.
Well, I guess what I found interesting about it is how they played the story straight like a sitcom with the laugh tracks, the jokes, and everything like that. But then they had these little sinister moments just kind of seep in of the bigger mystery. And you're just like, holy shit, what's going on? What's going on? And then it comes right back. And then we're just like right back to it. And then the sinister things creep in again. And someone even pointed this out, and I didn't really think about it, but now I kind of want to go back and watch them again and see them that way. But it might explain my reaction. Like, I don't remember watching it and having like a ha ha ha. Like, there were some funny moments, but I wasn't laughing along with the audience through the jokes.
That was piped in, yeah.
And
which I thought was part of the joke, honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And someone was like, if you really think about it, the laugh track is almost sinister in its own way. Like, these jokes aren't that funny.
Right.
And yet they're forcing that laughter upon you. But is it they're trying to make you laugh, or are they laughing at the bad jokes? So it has this other level of sinister, to it. And I was like, holy crap, yeah.
I mean, with the way each episode kind of ends, maybe.
It's just, it's
the H2, the two we've gotten.
And another thing that I heard, which I can agree with, but I also disagree with, is someone was like, if I didn't have prior investment in these characters, I probably wouldn't watch anymore. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's why we're here. That's why we're getting ready to do this, because we have an investment. We have a long-term investment with these characters. Mm-hmm. We're going to slow burn. And I don't think it's in a bad way either. I would love that by the time we get to the end, things from the first 2 episodes, people are like, it's okay. Like that.
Made sense.
A lot of things make sense. And you're just like, you appreciate them entirely new. And that's why they didn't give you all this stuff up front, because it was like, look, you know that we're going to deliver. Just
appreciate it as it's
appreciate what we're doing. Yeah. I have theories, but I have nothing concrete about what's going on.
Yeah.
I have
Whereas
thoughts.
I don't have a lot of theories.
I'm going to say 2 words, and that's where I'm going to stop. Mm-hmm. I have keep this in mind. This is like my thought process.
Which could be a spoiler maybe for some, so warning.
Possible spoiler, but keep in mind, I don't know anything more than any of you who have just watched the episodes. I'm not digging for rumors. I'm not digging for anything. I don't know anything, okay? So if I'm right about this, this is sheer speculative. This is my truth or trash mind.
There we go. We're putting it out there now. It's on the record.
2 words. Wonder Man. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So I'll let that sit.
Let that marinate.
If you want to go dig that up, you want to go look into it, you're more than welcome to. But that's what I feel like is going to be the important element by the time this ends.
Okay. Let's keep an eye.
Yeah.
Because I'm into it. I'm digging it. I think the concept is unique and different. So coming from somebody who isn't huge into all the Marvel stuff, just as a fan, if you're like me, I still think you'd like it. Mm-hmm. Just for the story and how they're doing it alone is unique enough that I'm finding it very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Last thing I want to talk about, because I felt like this was a nice treat that I got. Todd was kind enough to let me borrow his login information for Apple TV Plus.
Oh, yeah.
And the only reason I wanted this is because I have heard nothing but great things about Ted Lasso. I don't know if you've heard about this show.
I feel like I have, but I don't look into anything if it's not on my Trinity that I already own.
I understand. And that's why I didn't want to pay for anything else. I was like, God damn it, I don't. But I knew that he had recently got a new phone, and he's like an Apple fanatic. So I was like, I wonder. And I was like, do you happen to have this? And he's like, yeah. I was like, think I could borrow that login?
Yeah.
Just please. So I got to watch Ted Lasso first season. Such a fantastic show.
Oh,
like none of the hype that you hear or you thought was unreal or untrue. It's really a good show. What makes it so good is the character is just so freaking positive in the best possible ways. Mm-hmm. And this could have been a situation where they play it for laughs and he's ridiculed for being just this super positive human being. Mm-hmm. But there's such a genuine element to it that you want to be this positive, as good as this guy is, because everything, no matter what, he has his bad days. Mm-hmm. And even when he's had, like, there are a few moments where he has a moment where it's just like, God, just leave. But he doesn't blow up. He doesn't turn into an asshole. Mm-hmm. If he had a moment with somebody, he comes back and he apologizes. He's like, I'm sorry. It's like, I was just having a little rough time. I'm good. Mm-hmm. He's not perfect, but he just positive and always being positive about everything. And I'm just sitting there watching this dude. It's like, I wish I could be that guy. I wish I could have that attitude about everything, that you can always try to find a silver lining in every situation. Mm-hmm. And it's just Jason Sudeikis is the guy that plays Ted Lasso.
Oh.
And he's just
I like him.
to a T.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
I'll never get to see it, but I mean,
Well, should it ever wind up on another platform or
Yeah.
if you have an opportunity, I'll just say that. Check it out. Don't be fooled. This is another thing too. He's a sports coach that is an American sports coach or something like that, yeah. Who gets brought overseas to coach soccer, a sport he knows nothing about. And the idea of it is that the current owner of the team hired him in hopes of him destroying it because he knows nothing about it. Because it's her ex-husband's team and she wanted to watch it crash and burn in the best possible way. But again, Ted is such a lovable guy who doesn't give up that he finds a way to better it in a way. And you're just like, holy crap, you know? And then it's so hard when you're trying to see her destroy everything, but yet he's so good. You're conflicted about her too, because then she's starting to realize it and you're just like, argh.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really good show. It was created not only by Jason Sudeikis, but Bill Lawrence, the guy that did Scrubs and Spin City and all that. So it's got a good pedigree behind it.
Yeah.
And then also, since I had that at my disposal, I was like, what else is on this platform that I might want to check out? Mythic Quest, Raven's Banquet.
I've not even heard of that.
This was the show created by Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia about the big MMO video game. You remember? I know we talked about this when it was announced.
Vaguely, yeah, a little bit. But go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of an odd thing that this show is produced by Ubisoft, or they have their name attached to it, because they do deep dives into the gaming industry. And I mean, just poke and prod and tear shit apart in the best possible way. Like, there are references, if you're not as deep as us, it might go over your head. But I'm sitting there watching it going, holy crap, that's good. That's solid. That's a bird.
Hey, bro. Hey, Todd, give me your login.
Yeah. It was a solid show.
Come on,
and
help your sis.
They talk about crunch. They talk about, you know, developers and people getting the shit into the stick while other people take the credit. You know, while they get, it's like, well, I did this. It's like, yeah, but me. A lot of things like that. The streaming, where, you know, streamers in particular, they had like one kid who, it's the stupidest name, but I think, again, that's kind of the point. His name was Pootie Shoe.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, but he's like a 13-year-old boy. And they even comment, it's like, why is this kid so... It's a kid. He's a kid. And they even talk to other streamers trying to get, you know, I guess them to promote their game. And someone made that comment. It's like, how are kids in this position to negotiate? They're children. And it raises a lot of questions.
Hopefully they have good managers who are actually doing it for them. But
But it's a very interesting show. Like, I wasn't sure if it was going to be any good or not. But even not just Rob McElhenney being in the show, but Charlie Day, I found out, was actually one of the writers. He wasn't in it, but he helped write the show.
Okay.
And then you've got other cast members who you may know. The guy that played Rickety Cricket from It's Always Sunny, the meth head.
Oh, yeah.
That was the priest.
So it's just like a reunion, basically.
I mean, you'd think so, but I mean, those are really the only three that I saw that kind of rolled over. But you got F. Murray Abraham. I don't know if you know the name, but he was Salieri in Amadeus.
Okay.
I mean, you talk about an Oscar winner, got some pedigree right there. He actually plays the writer of the video game.
Okay.
And then I found out, this was an interesting trivia bit that I found out. There are two game testers that they kind of focus on. And the main one they seem to focus on, she is actually Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, fun.
I heard her voice and I was like, I know her. But I would have never pieced that together without looking it up. But I was like, I know that voice. And then I was like, oh, shit, that's cool.
Oh, fun. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
2 shows right there. If you got Apple TV Plus, if you want to check them out, I'd kind of recommend them. They even did for Mythic Quest their very last episode. I don't know if they meant to do 10 because episode 9 feels like that was meant to be the season finale, but episode 10 was actually a quarantine episode. So I thought that was kind of interesting, just to kind of shoehorn it in a little bit.
Bring you up to date.
Yeah, but it was still interesting what they did with it.
Yeah,
but I recommend it. That's all I got. I just want to talk about these things that I enjoyed over the break.
There you go. See, just like you guys.
Yeah,
sitting around waiting for stuff to do. It's not all glamorous as a podcaster.
Nah. That's all I got.
Oh, wow. So then that sounds like that's probably our show. Let us know what you guys have been doing over the break and what you've been playing, because you know you can always hit us up sometime over at Super Mega Crash on Twitter. You can also get the frog out of my throat. You can also send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram. Go follow us over there. You can view the weekly icon art that Steven puts all of his time and love into. And don't forget, you can support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred platform, whatever that may be. And you can also go over to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions to support the show. You can tell your friends to find the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network or search Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo on your Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, and even youtube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. So like everywhere. Thank you for listening. Happy 2021, guys. I'm Lacey Finley.
And I am Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.